Over the next few minutes, you'll get a clear, practical understanding of construction insurance, what it does, why it matters, and how to think about coverage so your project stays resilient in the face of the unexpected. You'll learn not just the what, but the why behind every major coverage decision, and you'll gain a framework you can apply to any project, big or small. And if you're waiting for the moment when protection truly pays off, you'll hear two hooks that cut straight to the core. The right coverage can protect every dollar of your budget from common, costly surprises, and it can unlock smoother project delivery by reducing downtime, disputes, and risk-related delays. Let's start with the big picture, the why behind construction insurance. The importance of construction insurance. Construction projects are inherently risky. Even with meticulous planning, the reality is that structures, schedules, and costs can veer off course. On-site accidents can occur in the blink of an eye, structural concerns might emerge during design or construction, and environmental hazards can throw a project into unplanned downtime. But insurance isn't just about writing a check after something goes wrong. It's about preserving the integrity and viability of the project itself. When a policy is aligned with the project's actual risk profile, it acts as a risk-reward balancer. It ensures that funds are available to address unexpected damages and liabilities, and it protects the reputations of contractors, developers, and subcontractors alike. In short, insurance underpins continuity, safety, and financial stability when the stakes are highest. Types of coverage in construction projects. There is no one-size-fits-all solution in construction insurance. A comprehensive risk management package comes from layering several coverages, each addressing a different facet of risk. General liability insurance protects against bodily injury and property damage claims that arise from everyday project activity. It's the baseline shield for third-party claims, from a visitor slipping on site to damage to a neighboring property caused by construction activities. Contractors' all-risk insurance, often called simply all-risk, covers physical loss or damage to project materials, equipment, and work in progress, the stuff that can vanish or be ruined before completion. It's the workhorse policy that keeps a project's physical value protected through the course of construction. Professional indemnity insurance defends against claims of design or engineering errors that lead to financial loss for others. This is particularly important in projects where design coordination, technical specifications, or architectural decisions carry potential liability. Builders' risk insurance focuses specifically on losses during the construction phase, including coverage gaps that can appear as designs evolve, materials are staged on site, or temporary structures are erected. Each policy can be tailored to the project's unique risks, whether that means higher limits, additional named perils, or extensions for things like temporary works, transit of materials, or off-site storage. The key is to think of coverage as a customized toolkit rather than a single lock that fits every door. Key risks in the construction industry. Understanding the landscape of risk helps you select the right protections. Common risks include delays caused by weather, strikes, or supply chain interruptions, structural defects that require expensive repairs or redesign, and on-site accidents that can lead to medical costs and liability claims. Environmental risks, flooding, earthquakes, contamination can compound these issues, especially in regions with greater exposure. Effective insurance planning requires more than buying policies. It demands an accurate assessment of project-specific risks. Risk comes from design, execution, and external factors alike, so safety protocols, quality control, and contingency planning are integral to how insurance behaves in practice. When you anticipate how risks could materialize, you can structure coverage to respond quickly, keep schedules on track, and preserve capital reserves for the unknown. Understanding liability and property claims. Liability and property risk sits at the heart of construction insurance. Contractors can be held liable for injuries or property damage arising from construction activity, even if the incident occurs off-site or as a consequence of work performed elsewhere on the project. Policies spell out the limits and extensions of coverage, covering a broad range of claims, from slip and fall incidents and equipment malfunctions to errors in architectural design. Property claims go beyond people. They include damage to building materials, temporary structures, and completed work awaiting handover. Because construction projects are dynamic, the line between in progress and completed can shift quickly, creating coverage gaps if policies aren't aligned with the project's current stage. That's why a layered approach, liability plus builder's risk and, where appropriate, professional indemnity, often delivers the most robust protection. Workers' compensation in construction. Workers' compensation is a cornerstone of construction insurance. This coverage protects employees who suffer injuries on the job by providing medical expenses and wage replacement, acknowledging the physical risks inherent to construction work. In many jurisdictions, workers' compensation is mandated by law, so it's not optional. It's a minimum requirement that also protects employers from related lawsuits. Beyond compliance, adequate workers' compensation supports a safer workplace. When workers know they're covered, the dynamic between safety culture and risk management strengthens. In practice, this coverage helps ensure that injured workers receive timely care and that projects don't get derailed by expensive, potentially protracted litigation after a workplace incident. How to assess your construction insurance needs. A thoughtful assessment begins with a precise picture of the project, its scope, timeline, location, design complexity, and the parties involved. Start with a thorough review of project specifications, contractual obligations, and potential liability exposures. This is the stage where you map risk to coverage. Engage insurance professionals who specialize in construction. These are the people who can translate risk into policy terms, endorsements, and limits. A formal risk assessment exercise can be highly beneficial. Consider factors such as project location and its environmental or regulatory nuances, the history of similar projects in the area, and any unique design or material challenges. An objective risk profile guides policy selection and the appropriate level of coverage. It also helps you decide where to invest premium dollars for maximum protective value, whether that means higher aggregate limits, broader peril coverage, or additional endorsements like delay in startup coverage or soft costs. Factors affecting insurance premiums. Premiums are not arbitrary. They reflect a mix of objective project realities and the policyholder's risk management posture. The size and complexity of the project are fundamental drivers. Larger, more intricate projects typically require higher limits and more specialized coverage. Contractors' track record matters as well. A history of on-time project delivery with low-loss experience can translate into better terms, while recent claims or high-risk conditions can raise costs. The presence and quality of risk management practices, safety programs, quality assurance processes, regulatory compliance also shape premiums, often in the form of discounts or more favorable rating bases. Location plays a major role, especially for exposure to natural hazards or regions with higher litigation risk. And importantly, market conditions and the insurer's appetite for construction risks can influence pricing. Understanding these factors helps managers optimize the balance between risk protection and cost, ensuring coverage that is robust without being wasteful. The claims process. What to expect. When a claim arises, the process unfolds in stages designed to be fair and thorough. The first step is to notify the insurer promptly and provide a clear, detailed incident account, along with supporting documentation. Prompt reporting helps reduce downtime and demonstrates accountability. Next, inspectors and adjusters assess the damage and verify the claim against policy terms. This evaluation determines the extent of coverage and the applicable limits. Cooperation from contractors and stakeholders during investigations is crucial, as additional detail can influence outcomes. Once the claim is processed and approved, funds are disbursed in accordance with the policy's terms, whether that means a direct payout, reimbursement for incurred costs, or payments tied to specific lost value items or delayed activities. The process can be lengthy, reflecting the complexity of construction projects, but the goal is fairness, accuracy, and timely resolution. Compliance and legal considerations. Legal and regulatory compliance is not an afterthought in construction insurance. It is a foundation. Local, state, and federal regulations often require certain types of insurance before a project can begin, and contract law governs the allocation of responsibilities and liabilities among project participants. Regular audits, ongoing training on compliance issues, and staying informed about legislative changes are essential practices for any organization operating in construction. A proactive compliance posture helps reduce exposure to penalties, gaps in coverage, and disputes that can drain both time and money. It also supports stronger relationships with lenders, owners, and subcontractors who rely on robust risk management to keep projects on track. Future trends in construction insurance. The shape of construction insurance is changing, driven by technology and a stronger emphasis on sustainable practice. Sensors, drones, and advanced analytics are starting to transform risk assessment and claims management, turning risk into data you can act on before an incident occurs. This shift enables more proactive risk mitigation and faster, more accurate claims handling. Blockchain-enabled smart contract systems are being explored to streamline verification processes, improve transparency, and reduce ambiguity in coverage and claim settlements. In parallel, the industry is expanding coverage aligned with green building practices and environmental liabilities as sustainability becomes a core project objective rather than a pass-through consideration. Looking ahead, the integration of technology with risk management will continue to redefine pricing, coverage breadth, and the speed with which insurers can respond to changing project realities. For professionals who stay informed and adapt to these innovations, insurance becomes a competitive advantage, supporting not just protection, but smoother decision-making and more predictable project outcomes. Conclusion: a cohesive view of construction. Insurance construction. Insurance isn't a single policy in a drawer. It's a cohesive, dynamic system designed to protect people, property, schedules, and reputations across the life of a project. From the essential liability and builder's risk coverage to the specialized protections for design professionals and workers, a well-structured suite of policies helps ensure that risks are anticipated, not simply absorbed. An effective approach begins with a clear assessment of needs, mapping the project's scope to the specific exposures it faces, and ends with a disciplined awareness of how premiums are influenced by risk management and location. The claims process, when understood and prepared for, becomes a path to resilience rather than a barrier to progress. Compliance and legal considerations guard you against avoidable risks while ensuring alignment with regulatory expectations. And finally, the horizon of future trends invites you to view protection not as a cost, but as a strategic enabler of reliability, efficiency, and long-term value. If you've followed this perspective, you've gained a practical framework for thinking about construction insurance. Identify and quantify risk, tailor coverage to the project's realities, manage premiums through continuous risk reduction, and prepare for claims with clarity and cooperation. The end result is not just financial protection, but a clearer path to delivering projects on time, within budget, and with the confidence of all stakeholders. Thank you for watching. As you reflect on the coverage you currently have, consider how your policy lineup aligns with the project stage, its risk profile, and the evolving demands of the market. With the right insurance mindset, you're not merely protecting a budget, you're safeguarding the future of the project and the trust that makes it possible.